Hello Kamen Rider fans and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today I'm taking a look at the Deluxe Demons driver from Kamen Rider Revice. So, this thing is incredible. So it's a very expensive, definitely expensive Premium Bandai item. One of the most expensive Premium Bandai belts I've ever seen that isn't like a CSM thing. But I get it. I totally get why with this one. It's incredible. I mean, this is such a cool belt from the show. I love the character. Spoilers for the show, I suppose, but there's multiple users of this suit. So it's also kind of a cool piece of merchandise for any of those characters if you want to get this. But basically, if you are collecting ViStamps, which I am a little bit, I've gotten probably more than I've shown on the channel. I haven't really shown a lot of them, but I do have a full ViStamp bar now. So I do have a couple. But I had to get this thing. I pre-ordered this before I even bought a Revice driver because I just saw how cool it was and I was terrified of what it would go for on aftermarket prices. Because I got mine off of Toy Collectibles for their March shipment. This actually came out in February, but it was such a popular item they had to do a March shipment, they had to do an April shipment, and mine got put in the March shipment, which is fine, and it's here. And now we can take a look at it. So, it's not actually in the box. The only thing in this box right now is the belt straps, because those are never going to fit me, so I just left them in the box. But I do want to take a look at this box, because it is also very pretty. It's a very nice matte finish to it. It almost feels like a CSM box, in my opinion, but it isn't. But you have Kamen Rider Demons here, you have the Demons driver, you have the Revice logo, and kind of Demons' logo, the Kamen Rider 50th anniversary logo, and on the top you have, say, Demons driver, which kind of looks like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man kind of font there. And of course in the center you have the Spider ViStamp, which is exclusive to this release, as it should be, it makes sense. And on the bottom you just get all the typical stuff there. Don't know how well I'm going to be able to show this because this box is pretty big, but you get the Spider stamp there, and then you get more of Demons' shoulder to continue off of the front. And on the other side you get, this is really cool, on the other side you get a couple random screens, which are actually, no, they're not random. These are screens that he actually used in the show. So you have Spider, Bata, Mugura, Condor, which is surprising that one's there actually, and Scorpion, because he barely used Condor. He just used it basically as a commercial for the stamp, so that's cool. Now on the back, there it is. The side up. That's so cool. And you get this really nice reflective spider web there, and you get the demon veil's eyes, which is so sweet. So let's go ahead, and I already opened it, so let's go ahead and bring it in there and take a look at the Demons driver. Alright, so here's the Demons driver out of the box, and it is very cool. You can see me there in the screen, which is a very cool LCD screen, or LED screen, that just is awesome. That's the coolest feature of this belt, obviously. What's also really cool is the push feature there to do the different sounds and stuff, because it actually has like these muscles that contract in with this rubber, which is really weird. It's a design I've never really seen them implement on a belt. They really went all out with this, which is so strange. I don't really know why they went so all out with not even the secondary rider or the tertiary. He's like he's like an extra rider basically in Revice. I mean, he's still like a main rider, but this is just really cool. And of course, they're probably going to be selling us the Premium Bandai version of this, being repainted again probably as the Veil driver. I'm sure that's something we're going to get here soon enough, because it's essentially just a repaint with remolds to the things on the sides, and obviously new stamps and such like that. But what's really cool about this toy is that we haven't even been able to get all the functionality out of this thing, because it has unique screens in here for every ViStamp that you scan. However, because of that, there's a lot of stamps we haven't even had releases for, or even announcements that they're going to get releases. So there's 100-something stamp screens in this thing. So, the more stamps we get, the more this is still going to be functionable. The only things about this, though, is that all the power-up stamps don't really do anything in here. They all have one dedicated sound. So Bard Rex, Volcano Rex, Thunder Gale, Holy Wing, those all do the same thing. You can't fit rolling in here because you have to stamp it here, which is nice because of the way that they did this. Basically, the scanner is, well, they have one of those infrared things in there that the Revice driver does. So I'm not sure if it's reading it there or if it's reading it here. Or I think maybe it's not reading it here, but this is kind of like an ink pad. It's just a nice soft rubber. And then in the show, he stamps it down, and then he stamps the screen. Now, since this is just an actual screen with lights and stuff, you might not want to scratch it up. So you don't have to stamp a screen on here. This is just a giant button that just pushes in. So if you want to, you can stamp it, and then you can just push this in if you don't want to put a stamps bottom directly onto the screen. I'm going to do it like that because that's show accurate, and I feel like that's what they want you to do with it. But basically, stamping the screen doesn't actually do anything. The stamp is not activating anything. You just have to click the button. The only things that the stamp matters for is up here. So, of course, you do get a stamp with it, which is the Deluxe Spider stamp. So, obviously, the only way to get this stamp, it's a grayish kind of stamp, which is basically how all of his stamps are, because he basically uses primarily Showa Rider stamps. He also used Kamen Rider Joker's base stamp for Condor. But he has, Scorpion, he has Bata, he has Mogura, which is like Amazon, X, and Ichigo. He also has used Onomanakaris, which is going to be for Kamen Rider Black, so you have stuff like that. But of course, on the back there, you have Demons showing out behind the Spider, and you get this light blue kind of, it's like a blue kind of navy-ish color with the nice red. And there's the bottom of the stamp there. Of course, you can just click the top of it. It's a ViStamp, so it's very loud. And of course, you can stamp the bottom. This will work in the Revice driver, which I will show off later on. But there is that. And man, ViStamps are loud. So there is that. And of course, speaking of ViStamps, you also get these. Since basically there's not a spot that, the stamp clips in on the top, but then in the show, he just stamps it down and then he needs somewhere to put it. So you do get two of these stamp holders to put onto the belt straps, which these are the exact same stamp holders we got with the release that came with the Eagle ViStamp, the Kamen Rider Double one, which these are upside down actually. These are just repainted to be the same kind of dark navy color as the belt straps. So of course you just take a stamp and you don't fail like me, just slide it in there and it's gonna stay. So it's nice to have those. Just kind of nice little things to hold some stamps. But with that out of the way, let's turn this thing on, use Spider, and then basically I'm going to bring in all the stamps that I own. Obviously there's a lot more stamps that are out that I don't own, but we'll just do what I can do and show off what I can show off with the Demons driver, and then we'll bring the Spider stamp over to the Revice driver. So turning it on, obviously the on-off switch is on the back. This takes 4 double A's, which is definitely rare. Most Tokusatsu toys, Sentai, Rider, Ultraman take triple A's, or those tiny little cell batteries like the ViStamps do. But no, this takes 4 double A's, so keep that in mind if you are buying this thing. And I probably should have turned it on the front so you can actually see the screen activation. So yeah, we got some cool stuff going on there. So in this mode, before you do anything, if you're going to push it in the sides, it's going to make you think, or it's going to think that you want to go ahead and start doing the Genome stuff, which we don't really want to do yet because we want to do the proper transformation. So let's go ahead and do it. So of course, let's activate the stamp. And stamp it down. So that's going to go for a while, and then you can stamp it or just push the button. And there we go. We have the transformation into Kamen Rider Demons. And that is so freaking cool. Like the unique, little animation for it and everything like that. The way that you have it stamps down and looks like a drop of ink or blood or whatever trickles down. Sometimes that doesn't always work. I have found that sometimes stamping it down, you have to just kind of really stamp it right. There's a latch that the stamp is sliding into up here, so it's you can only go one direction, so it's not like you're going to miss the center, but it doesn't always want to read it properly, I guess. I've had some problems with that sometimes. It could just be mine or something. But from here we can do the Demons finish. So to do that, we just have to not do this again, but just stamp it in, or we can just push the screen in. So of course just stamp it, and it's been charged, and then you push in the sides. And that's the Demons finish. So there's also the Demons Requiem attack, but I'm not going to do that yet because I'm going to do that with a bunch of different Genome mixes. So that is essentially everything you get out of this thing out of the box. We can do a Genome mix and everything. You actually can do a Spider Genome mix or whatever, which actually we can do that real quick. So you just push it in the sides. And of course it says add. See right there, it didn't work. There we go. And there we go. So we have the Spider Genome mix, which is something he's never really done or never really needs to do. But I am going to turn the driver back on and off again for a specific reason. Because basically we can do 4 Genome mixes at a time before we do a Demons Requiem, which is really cool because what it means is that it will remember 4 screens at once, and I didn't want it to remember Spider at the beginning because I wanted to show off all the stamps. So let's go ahead and bring in my ViStamp collection, and we will demonstrate them in the Demons driver. So I'm going to go in series chronological order. So the first stamp that I have is Ichigo's Bata stamp, and then I have Fize's Terra stamp, I have Deno's Mammoth stamp, and I have Decade's Megalodon stamp. So now, obviously, these are stamps that Demons has not used. Oop, and we're already activating somebody. Anyway, so these are stamps that Demons has not used because they're not Showa riders. Except for Bata, this is one that is a Demons stamp, but it was previously only released in the special 50th anniversary set of the Revice driver. So interesting, because it is a Demons stamp. Like, he's the only one who's ever used this thing. So you want to use it with this. But let's go ahead and do this the best that I can with everybody over here. So let's go ahead and get some Genome mixes going on. Oh, actually, I should show this first. So, which I was about to accidentally do anyway. So there is an alternative transformation sound if you just use a stamp that is not a spider stamp. So let's do that. Maybe. There we go. So it's a brand new transformation sound, and it did recognize that you put the Bata stamp there because it had the Bata little animation. So that sound will stay the exact same for any single stamp that you use that isn't Spider, but of course the only thing that'll be different is the little screen because it does know. So let's do these remix forms, or these Genome mix forms. So we have Bata. I forgot to do the add thing first. That was my bad. And finally, from our first batch, so there is our first batch. So of course now what we can do is we can do a Demon's Requiem attack. So that will remember the first four, or not the first four, but that will remember 4 of the stamps being done in order there. So let's go ahead and do that. Squeeze it again. So it asks for more. So there's that. That is the Demon's Requiem. And it remembers, like I said, 4 of them that you've done there. This is awesome. So I love this driver a ton. So I'm not going to do a Demon's Requiem for everything else. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly show off all the different stamps that I still have that I haven't shown off in this video, and just show you their little screens. And then finally, we have good old Rex. If I can get it there. Alright, so that is all the Vice stamps that I own that I can use in this belt. Alright, and then finally here we can bring in the Revice driver with the Spider stamp. So, you know, pretty solid jingle. It's probably never one we're really going to ever see in the show, but it can do it. So there is its remix form. And that is loud enough, so we are done with that. Alright, and that is going to do it for my review of the Deluxe Demons driver. So like I said earlier, I highly recommend this thing, but honestly I highly recommend it based on the amount of ViStamps that you have. Obviously you can get a lot of really cool stuff out of it with just Spider, and obviously if you're a big fan of Kamen Rider Demons and any of the people who have been Demons, I can highly recommend it for that as well. It also just looks awesome. It's definitely a unique kind of Kamen Rider belt we've never really kind of had before, but like I said, the more ViStamps you have, the more screens you can get out of this thing. Because there's so many screens I'm not able to show you because either I don't own the ViStamp or the stamp does not exist yet. So, the longer the toy line goes on, the more this driver will be worth it. I assume they're probably going to repaint it and remold it and resell it to us as the Veil driver, and I assume that one would be able to do all this stuff as well. There's actually screens in here for Veil's stamps, so we're definitely going to at least get those, I'm sure. And there's also a power-up sound in here for Kamen Rider over Demons, so we're not really sure what that's going to be yet, but that is programmed in here for something. I think it was the Hercules Beetle stamp or something that can do that, so who knows what we're going to get. But until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRicherKey or at LightningFigPR, and I'd love to know down in the comments below, are you going to pick up the Demons driver, or did you already? Did you get the earlier shipment? And also, what do you think of Kamen Rider Revice? And until next time, I'll see you all later.